If you are the Beatles fan, this video is especially made for you. In this video, we're going to ride on the Magical Mystery Tour. This is a full tour all about the Beatles. Buckle up and enjoy the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Magical Mystery Tour.
When John Lennon and a group of his high school friends country during the mid-1950s. John Lennon and his friends was quarrymen old before our birth. So that's the reason why John Lennon called his first band the Quarrymen. A place we'll be looking at a little bit later on. John Lennon met for the very first time Paul McCartney. Terribly uncool to have a 14-year-old. As John heard George play, John Lennon persuaded his art college friend Stuart Sutcliffe to join the band on bass. And during the very early days, Jacks, the Quarrymen, Johnny and the Moondogs, the Silver Beatles. Just driven into here. We like to call this Ringo Land. It's actually called Toxteth. Now this is the area where Richard Starkey, aka Ringo Starr, grew up when he was a kid. You know, when Ringo was very young, he was often very ill. He was in and out of hospital on several different occasions. Early summer 1947, he was only 6 years old. His appendix ruptured and it was touch and go whether Ringo was going to survive. You know, the doctors, they told his mother Elsie on at least 3 days. Take a look out for the 5th door down on the left hand side, just by where the people are standing. Now that one there is number 9. And on the 7th of July 1940, now that of course makes Ringo the oldest member of the band. He was 3 months older than John Lennon. Aside from that, another loaf. Now, halfway down, right-hand side, 23 years old, at the gold lettering above the central window, the first solo album out of any of the Beatles, it was in 1970. You'll also notice further along the left-hand side, there's a blue set of railings, and behind.
Alright, so we are at the famous Penny Lane. This is a Beatles song, and this is what they wrote the song about. So this is like the actual real Penny Lane. We're on the Magical Mystery Tour bus. Pretty cool. Pretty cool little bus.
Now at the bottom of the hill on the left hand side, there's a row of shops there that's featured on the Beatles video Free as a Bird. Bottom of the hill, right hand side, there's a little road there called Dovedale Road, and down Dovedale Road is Dovedale Drive in different directions. So the top of the lane is an Italian barber. His name was Bioletti. Old Harry, he lived above the barber shop.
We are now walking toward the birthplace of George Harrison, who was the guitarist for the Beatles. So we're walking down a alleyway. It's raining, but it's kind of interesting. But this tour takes you to all the places where the Beatles were born, significant places that they named songs after, such as Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields. So here we go. So we're approaching the birthplace of George Harrison. He was also known as the Quiet Beatles. He's up there.
Where is his home?
He's up there. He's running up there. So right there is the birthplace of George Harrison. On our way back to the bus, and we're going to see where our next stop is going to take us. So what you see behind me is the smallest house in England. It's right near George Harrison's birthplace, and it's part of a pub now. Right next door, on the right of me is the pub. This was considered the smallest house in England, dated in the early 1900s. However, these days there are a lot smaller homes in North Wales and everywhere else around the world.
The building at the front is the original St. Peter's Church School. The church hall, and just to remind you, 6th of July 1957 is the place where Lennon and McCartney first met. So after the gravestones restored in this cemetery, one of them, it was a guy called George Toogood Smith. Now he was John Lennon's uncle. He was also Aunt Mimi's husband. Now the other gravestone that got restored here at St. Peter's is the gravestone of Eleanor Rigby. There is actually an Eleanor Rigby buried here at St. Peter's. But the next place we're going to have a look at .
So we're on our way to the famous Strawberry Field. The song Strawberry Fields Forever. And there's a little story that goes along with this, is that Paul McCartney used to check out girls on top of a tree, and when his mother used to tease him and said, you know, bad things are going to happen to him, he said, well, don't get hung up about it, which is part of the lyrics of Strawberry Fields Forever. So this is the actual place. So this is a drum. This is also in Strawberry Fields, but they were told us at the tour that actually they used this on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Avenue, and it's called Mendick. The 4 Beatles houses, both John 3 years old. So that means John lived in the house for a total of 18 years. Underneath that window there's a small porchway and a black door. Now that's the place where John used to practice playing his guitar. His Aunt Mimi used to complain about the noise. She used to put him there in the porchway. Now John, he said he didn't mind. He said the acoustics were very good inside. Going to take her there on holiday for the very first time, and John took her down there.
We are on our way to Paul McCartney's house. They also told us that John Lennon and Paul McCartney's house, nobody is actually living there. It's considered part of what they call the National Trust. National Trust is the city owns it, so it's donated to the city as like a museum because of the fame of McCartney and Lennon.
You know, when Paul McCartney was 11 years old, he came to this cathedral. He had an audition to become a choir boy. Now, they told him his voice wasn't strong enough. They wouldn't let him join the cathedral choir. Over on the right, you got St. George's Hall in 1980.
After 2 hours, this Magical Mystery Tour ends at Matthew Street. This is where the Cavern Club is. The tour also includes a free admission to the Cavern Club.
The Cavern Club opened in 1957 as a jazz club. Later a set of rock and roll and the Merseybeat movement. In the 1960s it introduced the Beatles. Because of the railroad, they had to destroy the original Cavern Club and was moved to Matthew Street, where the Cavern Club is today.
We're so happy and that's how it's gonna stay. Sing it to our dee 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 dum dee.
That's going to wrap it up. I want to give a big thanks to you for watching. If you like this video, click like and leave a comment below. And share your experience if you have ever been to Liverpool and was able to take the Magical Mystery Tour. Subscribe if you have not, and check out all our videos of our England adventure. And again, thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Go to the jeweler store, buy the 30-carat gold ring. Molly said to Desmond, would you like some more? And as he says it to her, she begins to sing. Oh, that dee, oh, that da, life goes on. La, 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 life goes on. Oh, that dee, oh, that da, life goes on. Oh, la, 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 life goes on.